Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa, Mohana, Krsna, Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Narayana. Nanda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shivasade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Madana, Mohana, Mohana. Madana Mohana. Gopala Govinda Rama. 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 Madana Mohana. Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prestaya Te.
So first of all, I humbly offer my obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, Jagad Guru Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Gorakaruna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prastante. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Agrada Shri Basati Gaur Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. The topic we'll be discussing today, I'll speak in English and I'll speak in our dialect, so the people around here can also have a grasp of what we're discussing. Saint Prabhupada advised his friend Maharaj Nimi, and he's telling Maharaj Nimi about the predicament or the problem we're all facing in this material world, and our conception of happiness and alleviation or relief, to be relieved from what we're experiencing must be addressed by someone who is not different from God. And how is that? He gave the qualification. He has no material consideration. Meaning, he's above, he's not touched. He's in a different world that is transcendental, not this conditional world under the influence of the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Then we will discuss it gradually, this subject matter. And the spiritual master is master of his senses. He's a Goswami because his whole life he has no material desires, simply doing and pleasing the Supreme Person. He is a teacher by example. He's able to control the urge of the mind, the belly, the genitals. In short, he has no material desires. His desire is transcendental. It's connected with his eternal activity. Because he's on a transcendental level, it is the activity of doing the will of God. And we are fortunate enough to come in contact with the representative of God. He can help us, cure us from this disease. What is the disease? Material contamination that have contaminated us. It is materialism, false bodily identification, and enhance. Because we're blinded, we identify now with the false ego. And what is this false ego all about? It is not us. It is the desire to control, to imitate the Supreme Person. So, ang nangyari, nabigyan tayo ng pagkakataon na marinig natin si Saint Prabhupada at nagbigay siya ng pangaral o advice kay King Maharaj Nimi na itong mundo na to ay full of suffering. Huwag nating isipin, walang suffering dito. I-discuss natin dahan-dahan yan. At para magabayan tayo, dapat merong gagabay sa atin at yung qualification niya ay hindi kagaya ng akala ng isipan natin na qualification. At yung mga maling akala natin kung ano yung magiging solusyon sa buhay natin. So, if we come in contact with the representative of God, He gives us guidance. We wonder, how come we're diseased? And it's akin to, I'm sick. A sick person, you know? Yeah. So, when the tendency here in the Philippines and most places, if you're sick, you're afraid that you have this disease or you have this contamination of bacteria or virus that will devastate or kill your body, you go to the hospital. When you go to the hospital, you go to the specialist, the doctor there, who knows how to cure the disease. Huh? But in that hospital, there are a lot of people there. It's not that the place is a place where everyone is free from disease. That's the place where everyone who are sick, who wants to be cured, goes. Is a material, the hospital here. So, when we're fortunate, we come in contact with a spiritual doctor, like Saint Prabhupada, the instructing spiritual master, and our dear Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada. So we have institution like Madana Mohana Academy. He sets up and advises us to be following the process of having good association. And what's good association? Association with those who wanted to be cured from the disease of materialism. So when a person, after struggling so hard, traveling in this world, begins to ponder or thinks in his heart, how can I find a place, a world, a life that is really fulfilling? And I'm here struggling in this miserable never land, And I'm so conditioned to the experience that I have experienced with my senses. The happiness I search, the security I search, and I find it that it gives me fear in my heart that everything I'm doing will come to an end. Because time and tide waits for no man, and the body is connected with time. And it seems that I'm like someone who's trying to find happiness and cannot even find it. So when one comes in contact with the science that is descending, the unbroken chain of spiritual master, God's mercy coming to us, and it is akin or like when we are in a situation wherein the program that is transcendental, that we can do it in practice, to be able to become free, to be able to become cured. Our situation is like this. What are the solutions that you see every day in the media and every time you see, If a person has been staying, for example, here in the Philippines or in a jail in the Philippines, you're given a job to maintain that, that jail, the comfort room. They say comfort room. But the place is really uncomfortable. There's no water, it stinks. Imagine 2,000 people goes there and pee and shit, and you have no, what will you do there, The only way you can stand, what do they do there? They smoke. So they become numb to the stink. But because they've been staying there for so long, when they go out, they stink. And everybody stays away from them, But it's natural for him because he's in the shit house and modeling in the environment that stinks. It has permeated on his body. And they even have this cliche, you ain't shit, man. They're so proud, I'm shit and you ain't shit. That is the situation we are in. So when you come out, it's very natural that you stink because you're in this shit house for so long. And everybody stays away from you. So when you come in contact, it's like you need a medium to purify that stink. So you need to take a bath, You take a bath, brush your teeth, have new clothes. But we're talking here about a disease that has covered us. So when we come in contact with Lord Krsna and his representative, the doctor, the spiritual doctor, or you've been so long in the shit hole and you come out full of shit and you come in association with those who are trying to, get out of that shit hole, but still there's some shit on them, And they tell you, hey, why don't you take a bath? You stink. Immediately, what? You're shit. You stink. You get angry. You stay away. It's so hard to take a bath, It's so cold, Maligo ako? And not only that, when we come in contact with the institution or a place wherein we can chant together, have association, and experience connection with the Supreme Purifier that will purify our heart, that will draw the mind away from matter. Because the problem we face is our mind is drawn into the shithole for so long. We think we don't anymore. We cannot distinguish between us and the shit, We muddle like the maggots in swim in the shit. They're like shit already. And you tell them, hey, you should clean up, You cannot come to this place and stay with us because you're shitty and stinking. You're just gonna make this place stink, And you get angry. Parang galing ka sa kubeta, ang dumi-dumi, lalo na yung kubeta ng presohan, walang tubig lahat, amoy tae ka na. Di ba? Ngayon, pupunta ka sa lugar kung saan nandun yung mga kaliligo lang, sasabihin sa'yo, uy, pero may mga nakakalusot din. Mga taong may tae pa rin. At, uy, sasabihin niyo, dito ka lang, kasama kita. And they shit together and enjoy the shit. And they stink. Instead of malinis ka, mawala ka sa mundo na yon, mas lalo ka nalulong dahil ang nakasama mo, yung mga taong punong-puno rin ng tae. Tingnan mo? Ngayon, it's like when we go to the hospital, let's be direct now. You go to the hospital, for example, you have cancer. Your body is being destroyed by cancer. For example, cancer of the bones. It's very painful, I've seen my uncle experience this pain. It's so excruciating because the bone marrow is being destroyed by the virus and it begins to get inflamed, it stings, it becomes pus, and the bones begins to crack. He cannot even move. A certain move, there's no anesthesia for the bones. And it's so excruciating. But because I have not experienced that, but I can see how, how he just want to die. Get away from that. But the problem is, he cannot get out of the body. So that is the reason we must understand first our true identity. You're not the body. You're not shit, man. And the reason also that the process is not surrendering to the institution, but rather go to the hospital and relate to the doctor who can cure us from this disease. And those people who are there for so long, for example, there's someone there, there's a lot of, plenty of people who are practicing, or in the hospital, and the doctor tells them, you give them medication. But the cancer is still there, under remission. He tells you, the cancer did not metastasize. The breast cancer did not metastasize, It's undergo remission. It becomes like in a lull. You take this medicine, hoping and praying that after a while, the virus will be gone. And you'll be you'll have a healthy body, But in that hospital, there's a lot of sick people there, with TB, and now the TB bacteria is so potent, and the penicillin cannot even kill those bacteria anymore, It's so strong, it has mutated. Just like this COVID virus, it's like influenza has mutated to become so it contaminates everyone very fast. And those who have immune system, and especially lungs, that are very weak, they succumb and die, as we have seen through statistics and data every day. So my point is this. When you go to the hospital to get cured, you relate to the doctor. And there are people there who have been there for so long, their disease is in remission, not really cured. Not really cured. Because I'm just laying the foundation. The problem we're facing. So, pag pumunta ka sa hospital, dahil may sakit ka na cancer, ang karelate mo yung doktor. Bibigyan ka ng gamot, chemotherapy, lahat ng gamot, para yung cancer hindi mag-metastasize o kumalat. Di ba? Pero kailangan sundin mo yung prescription niya. Sabihin ng doktor, okay, pag-check namin, kumuha kami ng certain doon, yung cancer, hindi na kumalat. Pero nandiyan pa rin. Ibig sabihin, under remission, na hold lang. But you stay in the hospital muna. Diba? You stay muna in the hospital. It's akin to the cancer is in remission, and we're in this hospital, spiritual hospital that has been given to us, descending. Why? It's not the place, it is the process, the teachings of the spiritual master. And the process is association. Association. Because what we hear is very important. So a person who is in the shit house for so long, what comes out of her mouth? What is, let's just say, what is her innards? What resonates from her mouth? Is it transcendental? Is it compassion? It is love and care? So when we are in this hospital, we should not think, wow, I'm saved, We should follow the process of purification to be able to transcend, to become purified from the disease of materialism, to be able to cut the root of the false ego. And that purificatory process is the holy names. But because it's been given to us, and we try to ascend, to try to purify ourselves by our own power. But the medication is there already. It's complete. So when you take that, immediately, the first effect, just like when a person who has cancer and takes the medicine of the doctor, it goes into remission. Then after a while, if she's fortunate, the cancer virus dies, goes away, and she's in a healthy condition. But she's still in the hospital during the remission. He goes there every day. And what happened? The hospital becomes her house, becomes her house. Para bang, akala mo, lahat ng mga tao nag-chant, mga devotee yan. We think that those people who are chanting, they're devotees. We should understand what is a devotee. A devotee is someone who is a pure lover of God, who is transcendental. But because we have this idea, based upon our concept of what is a devotee, what is pure, he's chanting, he's a devotee. We're not seeing the reason we're here is because we are in a disease condition. And what is the disease? Materialism. We identify with the body. We are so ignorant. We have no direction. The direction that we should follow is the medication that will cure and hit the nail on the head. You don't turn around, Directly, the spiritual master tells us, give us this process. And what is that? In Bhagavad Gita, as it is, our instructing spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, the dearmost spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, his life and soul, his heart is anchored upon that shelter. He gives us Krishna's eternal transcendental instruction. Bhagavad Gita as it is. What is Bhagavad Gita as it is? It is the Word of God, the Supreme Doctor. So when he's talking to Arjuna at the Battle of Kurukshetra, he tells Arjuna asks him, my dear Lord Krishna, what is it that, as if by force, a greater force that we cannot really fight out, force us to do something we don't want to do, and even that is detrimental to our welfare. Why? How is that? And Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, it is lust, Arjuna, which turns into wrath, anger. That is the enemy you're facing. And the enemy is not outside. It's in your mind. The enemy is situated in your mind. Lust, anger, and greed. And not only that, you are driven by that force. Because when a person is guided by lust, anger, and greed, the mind directs the person to search fulfillment, security, and happiness through this temporary material world, through the senses, through the hope against hope, hoping against hope, to follow the anticipation that the mind, the desire, the promise of security and happiness of whatsoever. But the mind is not eternal. It's material. You are not the mind. You are not the desire. Wow. So when you come in contact with the institution, we are not, we who have come in contact with the spiritual master, we should understand clearly how we can become cured. Kailangan maintindihan natin paano tayo gagaling. Gamitin natin yung gamot na pinapagamot sa atin. And Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, the gates of hell, 3 gates of hell, lust, anger, and greed. Look, the disease that we have. We think we're the body. Our shelter is the body. Why? Because we're selfish. We want to imitate God. We want to be God and act surrogately, falsely, the false ego. This is the problem, because we're not self-sufficient. We are not God. And when my spiritual master talked to these people they think they got their act together, Akala nila okay sila lahat eh. And the spiritual master tell, all of you here, you're not all right. You're all sick. You're all diseased. You have a problem. You're gonna die and you don't know where you're gonna go. And immediately those people, these guys talk sense. Because for all our life, we've been trying to cling to something. A foundation that is not really a foundation. Because even scientifically, the foundation will be scattered, the atoms and molecules. And the problem we face is the focus, the disease that we have been encumbered, because of our desire for search for happiness, for fulfillment and security is directed upon the wrong direction. We are now in this material disease, this false ego. And those people, you know how the media try to exploit us. You stink, for example, you have to brush your teeth every day because, you have a foul mouth and nobody wants to come to you near, because when you breathe, wow, everybody, Then when you play tennis, you play wrestling, nobody wants to touch you because you stink. You smell like a goat, And what do? They tell you. There's this media, they show you in the Philippines, very, very direct. You're walking, you see your friends, and you want to run to them, everybody runs away from you. And there's this ad, is it you that they're talking about? And then you begin they portray it, I stink. And then they give you this deodorant, this deodorant. Okay, use this deodorant, You'll have a white, and the stink will be gone. When you breathe, you don't take a bath, they have this soap, everything. And the spiritual master tells them, why don't you die and give up this body? What? I'll die? No. Live a life that is life. Because your life is the word of death. And you cannot understand, you cannot comprehend. Because you've been covered by shit. It's natural for you that you stink. You glory in your shame. But somebody tells you, you're shitty, man. You stink. What? But actually, it's the false ego's play, So there's this. So when you go to the hospital, you go to the doctor tells you, it's like that. Tells you directly, if you don't take this medication, in 7 days, you'll die. And you don't know what will happen. But it's so hard, it's bitter, It's bitter, like a person who has, this sickness in his liver, was that jaundice. The doctor said, eat a lot of candy. But it's bitter, I'll get diabetic after a while. No, you eat that. Then when you get cured, you take the sweetness. Then you can stop eating candies that will, lead you to the disease of diabetic because there are sweets that, will not be affecting your kidney or, And you're there. And those people who come in contact, they have surrendered to the temple. They have surrendered to the institution. Because when they're out there suffering in the desert, in their mind, they want relief. They want to be relieved from the suffering. But they don't know what's relief. They don't know what's clean. So they think, if I go to Madana Mohana Academy, and wow, I go to the hospital, and then when you go to the hospital, it's a shock to you, How come everybody is sick? I think I'm gonna get out of here. Yun ang problema natin. Yung false ego. And not only that, pag nasa hospital ka na, there are a lot of people there also who have been there for so long, And they group together, You associate with them, they have TB. TB? Tuberculosis. It also destroys your lungs, When the tuberculosis bacteria goes to your lungs, it destroys it. It gets inflamed. And then it makes a hole there. It's almost like COVID, The COVID destroys your cell and then water comes in, And then you begin to spit blood. You're having a hard time to breathe. And you go to the doctor gives you ang penicillin. It tells you in 60 days, you take this. But after 60 days, you have an x-ray again. After 60 days, may x-ray naman. The bacteria is still there. You stay here muna in the hospital because there's a ward here. You've been there for so long in the hospital, And then you've been associating with people who have TB, cancer, Hep B, Hep C, AIDS, And it becomes a natural camaraderie, We have party this Christmas, All those people in the hospital, let's sing, chestnut roasting on the fire, Then they, okay, cheers, cheers, cheers. And then this person who drinks this, a glass who has TB, that has not been killed by the penicillin drinks. And then he leaves it. And then you, thirsty, you look, glass, I drink. Then you have TB. It is important that we follow the doctor. And then when you come in contact, what? It's like parang yung lecture ni Srila Prabhupada sa atin, yung turtle punong-puno ng, ito, ilagay natin, puno-puno ka ng tae, na dikit na yung tae sa katawan mo. Hindi ka na makagalaw. Ang baho mo, walang lumalapit sa'yo. Hindi ka nakakainin ng buhaya. Kasi ang buhaya mismo, natatakot ang baho nito. Hindi ko ito kakainin. Pero nandun ka, may lumapit sa'yo, tanggalin yung mga what? At hindi lang yun, may kasama ka rin na nandun. Alam mo, matagal na ako rito, punong-puno ako ng tae. I've been here in this shit house, in my body, and I'm covered by shit. And it's so hard, Nobody, I'm still here, struggling hard, struggling. Why are you struggling? Because you're covered with shit. And nobody tells you that. And then someone who's also sick there, full of shit, have pity on you. You know what? I've been here for so long and I'm full of shit. It's so hard. Nobody loves me. Nobody wants to be with me. And it's all work. And the medicine, actually, I'm not taking it. And then you begin to hug one another. This shitty person. That's why very important to have association. And what is that association? It's about someone who will give us the truth. The truth will set you free. But if the process is simply based upon material consideration, okay, join the group. The plentier, the happier. Because more money will come in. We have strength with numbers, and they put this forward, one person, you can break the stick, but if we are bunched together, we are strong. But the problem is when you go to the institution or to the hospital, they're all there. Then you should be able to see and follow the instruction of Saint Prabhupada and the process for purification. God Himself, Krsna. But because for so long, we are blind as a bat. The bat, why is the bat blind? He cannot come out during the daytime and fly like the goose or the birds outside. Why? Because he's living in a nocturnal world. He just goes out in the evening and use his radar, smell, the feelings, flies in the dark, Sometimes we see bat flying. That's why there's this cliche. You're blind as a bat. And you come in this association of devotees and tells you, you know what? You stink and you're blind as a bat. Immediately you get angry. What? And the reason, they tell you, okay, why don't you go to the comfort room and take a bath, Why don't you rest and use this IMO to clear, your eyes because it's full of, mold, But no. I like to just sleep, and the mind tells you, you're tired, The work is so hard. Now, you're in this world of darkness because you are mind-driven. You're under the molds of material nature. And you've been in the hospital for so long. And those people also who have been there for so long, if they don't see the doctor and they don't follow the process, they have misconception about what is spiritual life. They're thinking spiritual life is joining a group, to be in a place that is transcendental. You go to Vrindavan, can you see Vrindavan? Krishna appeared there, But will you be in Vrindavan? Will you be in the spiritual world? This is a transcendental question you should ask. How can I enter Vrindavan? How can I be with Krishna? When you come into the doctor, tells you directly, you're sick, kid. In 7 days, you're gonna die. You have this cancer. So, under chemotherapy, then we'll take care, watch how you can become cured. But you don't have the patience. You don't have, you don't have you don't want to engage in austerity, You know what's austerity? The sacrifice to take the medicine. So it's bitter. I don't like it. Pait man na, di ba? I like here. I'm drowning. I just like to drown, but I cannot breathe. And they tell you, why don't you get out of the water and hold my hand? You become free, No, I like it here. I'm gonna sleep. Every time. You're like the goat. The goat? The goat stinks, What's the goat afraid of? When there's rain, the goat run. They run because it's raining, But they don't know that will purify their body. The rain will wash out their stinking body that's smelly. So when you come in contact with the process, we must have this clarity of first understanding our situation. And follow the doctor, the spiritual doctor, who will teach us, who will guide us to cure us from this disease, who gives us guidance. So Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, ano yan? Mulan, wala ka mang gagawin din. Wala muna. So ano ang gagawin natin? Diba? The mind that is driving us, Lord Krishna tells us, lust, anger, and greed is situated in the mind. You must be able to draw the mind away from matter. And the process that is given in this age of Kali Yuga is meditation. You want alleviation, you want peace, but you must have a peaceful heart. You must have experience a fulfilling heart that is connected with what is transcendental. So what puts us in this predicament? We've been in the shit house for so long. We think we're shit. And then not only that, when you have this misconception of how to get cured, it's like, join the group, surrender, surrender to the institution. Then what will happen is that you will be led into oblivion and confusion. Because there are people there, when you relate to the doctor, they don't want to let you relate to the doctor, man. They don't want to get out of the shit house, And how do they relate to you? They relate to you in anger. They threaten you. And put you in fear. And tell you, you want to get out of the hospital? You want to stay away from us? From this shit house? No, we are here. This is called Site 2. This is the spiritual master haven that will save you and protect you. This is all nonsense. The truth will set you free, and the transcendental teaching that is eternal, coming from Parampara, the lotus feet of the spiritual master, his instruction is our connection with the Supreme Person. And who will purify us? The Supreme Doctor. The spiritual master gives us this medication to be connected with the Supreme Purifier. And you tell, Oh, I've been chanting for 40 years, you know. I'm so miserable in the shit house, in this other shit house, and then I begin to see, oh, I'll go to Madana, Mohana, you know, and be free. But when you're there, how come I'm not free? I'm still full of shit, you know. Then look at your activities. A certain activity leads to a certain consciousness. And the activity you're doing, is it purifying? And there's a process in this age of Kali Yuga to become free from this shit house, to be able to understand the Harinama. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. What's that? And everybody's chanting that. An association. For so long you've been hearing gossip, you know, criticism, that is sound, that is just fueling your anger, your frustration, your hunger. You're hungry, but you cannot be satisfied. You're eating and eating and eating, but you're in the wrong direction. You're never filled up. Because of the process you're doing is completely directly opposed, not transcendental. To be in short, you're still in shit house. And you like it there, like the maggots. So when you come in contact with the people who are trying to get cured, who are engaging in austerity. Austerity means sacrifice you do. Austerity means you work, but the work is not just to work to survive, to take care of this body. The work is connected with an ingredient of devotion. Because to be connected with God is to be loving Him. And it is about devotion. So look closely now. Saan tayo devoted? To the mind. To our selfish, we think we're pure. We're self-sufficient. If anybody tells you, you're an asshole. What, me? I'm a devotee. And those people who are in illusion that they're cured, they are in the hospital also. And then when somebody goes to the hospital, and where's the doctor? And that person is not even the doctor. He's not even taking he's so much, the disease is in remission. He's still in a disease condition. Under material consideration. He's not transcendental yet. Because he has material desires. And when you relate to the doctor, because in scripture is telling that by the mercy of the spiritual master, one gets Krsna. One understands Krsna. Love is when you come in contact with the touchstone. Like metal comes in contact with the touchstone, it becomes gold. When the metal comes in contact with fire, it becomes fire. And the people there who have been muddling in the mud, who are blind as a bat, who are deaf as the worms inside, at least the snail, they're not really deaf, And you go there, and then you want to see the doctor and tell you, why are you here? And they lead you in the wrong direction. The blind leading the blind, who's blind as a bat. And they're so arrogant, and tells you, they get angry, and how do they portray, manifest, or try to direct you? Is their contaminated false ego to control you, to direct you into oblivion. So we must be careful not to follow somebody who's a fool, who's full of shit. What do? These people, they try to manipulate you. We are camaraderie, we're one clique. So they have this idea. If you're not with us, you're against us. Completely different from the transcendental world. To enter that world, there's only one key, one door. Give your life to Krishna. Offer your life to Krishna in humbleness. understand your true transcendental nature by the process, the medicine that is given to us by Krsna himself, the Supreme Purifier. Not from these people who have this misconception that to be purified is to surrender to the place. It is a process, an austerity. You must engage. You must do the work. It's not that, why do you just want to join the organization? Bakit gusto lang yung mag-join ng organization? I'm a member of this group, this holy group. Why? Because you don't want to engage in austerity, in activities of rendering service to God. You don't want to take the walk. You're drowning, but you don't want to get out of that drowning state. But somebody tell you know what? You can just join. Just all of this sahajiya. That's why the science that the medicine, the process is not, it will save us. But we must follow the medication from the doctor. Not from all those people around, who are sick. And you relate to them, This person has tuberculosis. You sit down with her or with him. This is our, what we should do, no? We must meditate. We must save nature, We must save the environment. Protect the crocodiles. But the spiritual master tells us, gives us example. Maharaj Pariksit, who has 7 days to live. Meron siyang 7 days to live. And he asked, what will I do? And the people in the hospital for so long were sick, You know what? Let's just drink it together, And this person who has TB, then pass on the glass to you, They're your friends, What? If you don't follow them, what? They get angry, They condemn you. But because you are blind as a bat also, you're full of shit, you cannot hear. You're not guided. You're guided by the smell, the stinking smell, which you are so attracted. You're attracted to, just like the fly is so attracted to the stinking smell of shit. It becomes natural for the fly. But for a person who's, So that's what happened. You associate with people, and what is the topic they discuss? It's about the shit, and you begin to love it, I don't like her, She's mean, Look at me, I'm kind-hearted, Let's embrace together, dance together, Model together in this shit. And they begin to accommodate one another, Throw shit upon one another by saying shitty words about this miserable world centered around what they're doing, and you hear it, enters your ear, pollutes your heart. You become more angry. You become more diseased. Instead of the remission, then you begin to wonder, I am in Madana Mohana Academy. How come I'm angry? Bakit ako galit? Nandito naman ako sa holy place. Because you have not taken the medicine. You have not followed the doctor. And the disease now begins to, you experience now, the person who has cancer. Wow, it's painful. What's happening? Cancer is still there. Because it's just went into remission. And you did not take the medication. You did not take the water. You're so thirsty, the water is there, you're not drinking the water. You're not taking the medicine. Kaya pagdating, what happened was, ang sakit. Sakit. Then bigla na lang, nag-metastasize. Ibig sabihin nun, biglang yung virus, ng cancer virus, kumalat na naman. Tas nandito ka sa place na akala mo, I surrendered to Madana Mohana, the institution. I should be free from cancer. How come? I'm getting worse. These people, they're weird, I have cancer and I'm feeling this pain. And these people are giving me pain. You know what? Your head is so muddled. You don't know what happening is you cannot distinguish between your head and your ass. Your meditation is upon this shitty world. And you've been following those people who are blind as a bat. They let you sign contract, you know. I am not member of the institution. I don't surrender to the institution. We are eternally connected because we are all children of God, spirit, soul, life. And what happens is that we are separated from that world because our meditation is focused and guided by the enemy. When you make a decision to follow the joy, the happiness, we are given this purificatory process, this medication, because we are faced with a problem, an insurmountable problem that only someone who is free, who is not touched by this miserable world, who is in this transcendental boat, while in this ocean of misery can pick us up. That person is the spiritual master. Not all these people who, you know, all these people na. Kaya it's a process. That's why we think na, if I join, when can I become a devotee? You know? Don't you wonder that we are not asking anything from you? The spiritual master is not, Krishna is not asking anything from you. You come to the process, given down. They don't even ask anything from you. What is the price? And they tell you, your life. What? I own my life. I've been in this shithole. You're gonna take away all the wealth I have? You know, I have already collected 10 shitholes, you know. 10 supposedly comfort rooms, you know. So that we should learn and understand. Relate to the doctor, follow the process, all this misconception of surrender to the temple, to the institution. We must understand our predicament. And Lord Krishna is telling us directly, in a nutshell, hitting the nail on the head. The problem is in the mind. And you are facing a war you cannot win without the Supreme Protector. Yeah? Understand? The reason, for example, why do people go to this training to become a soldier? To fight a war, to protect the country. And they teach you. What do they teach you? If you hear this sound, you undergo austerity, you know, sacrifice. You run every day, jog 6 kilometers, pull backpack, you know. You eat a little only, you undergo all this training they're telling you, you must become tough as a leather. You must become tough as a nail, you know. But that is the program they're doing. But here, the process is not like that. You must become purified from these encumbrances. You are not the body, you are not the mind. You must be directed by what you're longing for. The source of love, the Supreme Person. He's a person. He loves you. He's the sweetest person. But because we try to ascend to God, we try to put God in the box of our mind. Your mind is limited. You cannot even see your ass, you know, what's inside your innards, you know. We are limited. We are not self-sufficient. So if you want to go solve the problems we are facing, we must follow the instruction of Saint Prabhupada. Find a bona fide spiritual master, find a real doctor, and understand the truth. So we'll continue this study program to guide us, to protect us, to help us get us from this shit house. Because after a while, you're muddling in the shit house for so long, you don't want to get out anymore. You want to, and the people there, the maggots and everybody there, you know, let's swim together, you know. Let's party together in this shit house. Let's eat shit. So the process of purification in Kali Yuga, God's mercy. Harinama eva kebalam. Kolovan asteba gatirayita. In the Upanishad, the eternal transcendental pastimes of the Supreme Person comes down to us. His mercy, His love, to purify us, to bring us to that world, Krishna Himself. And if we can appreciate that through having someone who loves us, and we can direct our life without any counts, without any feeling, will I be protected? Because that person is our eternal friend. He has unconditional love for us. Because we're dealing with someone who is not conditioned by the three modes of material nature, who loves us eternally, who is in a world that is eternal, ongoing on the devotional life of serving and loving God for the pleasure of the Supreme Person, who is engaged in his happiness with the devotees in loving reciprocation, and he invites us to enter that world. So those people, us, we've been in this shithole for so long, we must take the medication. We must take the walk. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Understand? Now, if you don't want to do that, you can be in the shithole for so with all these maggots, you know. Haribol Namaste.
Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa namine Gora Karuna Sarupaya Radha Krishna Prestaya Te Chaitanya Radha Krishna Chaitanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Chaitanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Chaitanya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gauranga Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gauranga Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gauranga Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada 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 Hare Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasade Gaurabhakta Vrinda Hare Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana 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 Gopala Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Nandini Ora Karuna Swarupaya